I've spent tens of millions of dollars on Facebook ads alone over the last several years running a digital advertising agency, and I get this question all the time. Are Facebook ads still worth it? So in this video, I want to break down if Facebook ads are still worth it in 2025, why they might not be, why they might be okay, and why they're great in certain instances. So in order to understand this, I want to first talk about Facebook ads or Meta as an overall platform and how they developed, because everybody knows, Facebook ads isn't as good as they were back in, 2013 when they were first starting out and Facebook was, super profitable for almost every business, getting 10x ROASs and all this crazy stuff, versus today when it seems like Facebook ads are harder than ever to make really work, especially for a small business starting out. So how do social media platforms grow? How do they get adoption, and how do they ultimately monetize those platforms once they have the mass adoption and all the users on the platforms, right? So Facebook ads is like any other platform, Instagram, whatever, right? It's all the same, but what they do is they start out with a platform and they get people to use that platform for free essentially, and they gain a user base. And so as they gain a user base, they're slowly getting more information about their user. They're making their platform better. They're improving it. It's growing because people get the most organic social media growth on this platform. They're getting flooded with more users. Ultimately, businesses, go where customer attention goes as well. And so as Facebook is growing right here, they're growing really quickly and they start to monetize their platform. But in the early infancy of Facebook monetizing their platform, they don't really know how best to actually target users based on certain interests to get the business the most results for a given budget. And they also want to attract more advertisers, and so they're willing to make the advertising results and the reach of their ads a lot more to get better results faster, to bring more businesses and more people to the platform because of the amazing results early adopters are getting. And so as Facebook grows, you can kind of think of this line as like Facebook growing, but also Facebook's cost in terms of like CPMs and how much it costs to actually advertise on their platform. As they mature, as their algorithm gets better, as more advertisers join the platform, as their user base matures, Facebook ultimately gets to a point where they are at maximum efficiency in terms of monetization to where they can achieve business objectives in the most efficient way possible to maximize how much they can charge and profit on their ads without charging excessively to where no businesses would use their platform because it's just too expensive and the economic sense just doesn't make sense anymore. Right? And so that's really where Facebook is where they are, let me change this to 2025, but they are maximizing the total profit that they make from ads because their algorithm is sophisticated enough to where they know they can get a business result for a small business and they can get it for a large business that's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, just as much as they can get a result for a business that's spending, $10 a day. And so that's where you end up is this case where Facebook has a really democratized ad platform where anybody can get started, anybody can run ads on their platform. It's a pretty equal playing field. And so what really determines, whether Facebook is worth it to you to spend, $10 a day, or maybe not even that, to spending thousands of dollars a day, maybe even, $10,000 per day or upwards of that. There's a lot of advertisers doing that profitably. What's the main difference between those if it's ultimately the same ad platform, the same targeting and everything like that? And really it comes down to your business. And so I would put businesses into three categories. The first being bad, the second being mid, and the third being great, right? And so what really makes a business set up well to succeed with ads? Well, I'll tell you what doesn't set up a business well to succeed with ads, right? And these are really the biggest things that I see that make your business not set up to succeed with ads. And one of my favorite phrases to kind of say is you need to make your business work for ads, not make ads work for your business. And there's some businesses where ads just don't make sense for your business because of just how you're set up ultimately, or your current revenue level, right? Maybe you need to grow a little bit more and then you can invest into ads because maybe you have a really long life cycle until somebody actually buys from you, right? And so these are the biggest things though. A low AOV. So in general, I see cost per clicks for sales campaigns are very similar, right? They're close to $1. Sometimes they're less than $1. Sometimes they're more than $1, right? And so given that, if you have a low average order value, let's say like $20, it's really, really, really hard to make that profitable, assuming you also have a cost of goods sold associated with that, right? Maybe you're operating on $15 of profit margin on that actual sale. And so $15, that would mean you need to spend $15 to make a single sale every time just to break even. And so do you think you're going to get, a ton of sales for, $5 a pop? Probably not with advertising, right? I see cost per purchases that are close to $50, $70, $80, and that's a pretty common range for a cost per purchase. And so a low AOV with, a low profit margin just isn't going to cut it, and you're just not going to see good results with ads. The second is no LTV, so no lifetime value associated with that. Now, you could get away with a low average order value if you know that a $20 sale is going to lead to $200 in lifetime value from subscriptions, from repeat purchases, etc. If you have no LTV, you can expect your ads are not going to work because you have no additional revenue in the back end for acquiring a customer. Second is also high churn. So kind of the same thing in terms of subscriptions, right? If you have a subscription business or whatever, if people buy from you and they only are with you for 1 month and then they just churn and they don't actually spend any more money with you, ads will not work for you either. And the last is this low conversion rate. So people come to your website and they ultimately convert at a really crappy rate, below 1%. It's really hard to make ads work because even though you're sending all the traffic to the site and it's good quality traffic and people are liking your ads, if they're not buying from you at a strong enough rate, ads are going to be really tough to make work, even though all of your other numbers might be making sense, right? And so when we go and look at, kind of a mid, business that really is worth it from Facebook ads, or a great business that Facebook ads is well worth it and they're able to scale and go really high, it's just kind of the inverse of all these things. They're going to have a higher average order value. They're going to have a lot more LTV. They're going to have really little churn. They're going to have a really strong conversion rate, better profit margins, and ultimately just better business economics to actually make ads work with their business. And so is Facebook ads worth it to you? Well, you really need to think about how your business is set up. Do you have a clear avatar? Do you have a strong average order value? Is your conversion rate strong? Is your website really professional and good looking to where people want to buy from you? Another thing to factor in is your social media presence. Do you have an existing social media presence and awareness, people that already know, like, and trust you, that makes your conversion rate a lot stronger as well because you have a lot of that brand recognition and that audience built up already? Do you have a large email list that you can tap into? A lot of these things are really impactful and can determine, based on how your average order value is, how good your LTV is, you can go from mid to a great business that can scale to thousands of dollars a day and spend profitably just based on, again, a lot of the back-end business metrics versus in the ad account. And so just to illustrate this further, this is a brand that we're currently working with. In the last 30 days, we've spent $90,000, and you can see we've generated 44,000 leads, 281 trials. We've generated 1,279 purchases at a 0.83 ROAS. And you might look at that and say, well, that's kind of a crappy ROAS. Why would you be running that? But this is an example of a business that is confidently spending thousands of dollars a day. And even though the in-platform ROAS doesn't look good, this is extremely profitable for this business because of the LTV, the lifetime value associated with it, and the value of the leads that we're generating as well that ultimately convert later into purchases and conversions for us. Here's another example of a business that I'm helping coaching actually. They're spending $175 per day. They've generated 78 sales at $30 per purchase. So again, in this case, if they had a $20 average order value, this just wouldn't work for them. But in this case, if we go over here, we can see that with that $30 cost per purchase and 78 sales, that's resulted in $7,200 in purchase conversion value at a 3.08 ROAS with an average order value of about $93. And so is that extremely profitable to where they can scale to thousands of dollars per day and spend? No, it's not. They need to work on other things in their business. They can try to improve their ad quality as well to increase that ROAS. But ultimately, this is a business that's profitable that could scale this up a little bit further, but then they're going to reach a bottleneck where they cannot continue to scale. And so that's why this one, it's a newer brand. It's just starting out, doesn't have that brand equity. And so they're getting the ball rolling. They're able to get results, and it's worth it for them at their level of spend. It's not worth it for them if they were to scale, really, really aggressively, and they have to constantly tweak their business, work on all those things that I mentioned to get from, kind of mid towards, really good and great. And lastly, here's another example of a business that we actually stopped running ads for because it didn't make sense because of the seasonality of their business, and the numbers just started to fall off a cliff, right? So 18 purchases at $95 per purchase, right, which isn't horrible, depending on their AOV. But if you go over right here, we can see that was resulting in only $2,000 at a 1.2 ROAS, and their AOV was only $114. So ultimately, you can see just a 1.2 ROAS, given their cost of goods sold, this is not profitable for them. And ultimately, they're losing money running Facebook ads, even at a small spend of just $100 per day. Facebook ads is no longer worth it to them because the numbers just don't make sense anymore. So I hope that helped you kind of decipher which one you kind of fall into, what really matters when it comes to running Facebook ads, and helping you determine if Facebook ads are ultimately worth it for you and your business. And I would encourage you, if it doesn't currently make sense for you, think about what I said of make your business work for ads. Don't try to make ads work for your business. So think about how you can increase your prices, bundle, increase LTV, reduce churn, increase your conversion rate to make ads work for your business. And I also have an entire scaling calculator resource that can help you to really forecast and see what types of results you can expect with different conversion rates, different average order values, different profit margins to really forecast out your profit and how scaling can look for your business. So if you want that, check the link in the description, join my free school community, and that resource will be in there once we go live. And also, if you're looking for more information on how you can scale your ads and get better results, I recommend checking out this video next.